Whenever I see a problem that has a graph in it, the first thing I always want to do is figure out what that is the graph of. And so what this problem is telling me is that we have a slope field up above here for the differential equation. So these are the slopes for, and differential equation, don't freak out when you see that language. Differential equation is just fancy math talk for derivative, right? So what we have are the slopes of a derivative. Derivative of what is what we want to try to figure out. In the second part of the sentence, it tells us that y equals f of x is the particular solution to this differential equation. And since it's the solution to it, what we know that we're looking at up above here, these are going to be our f prime of x. These are our slopes at those specific points. And so that's what our graph is up above. We are looking at our slope values for this f of x equation. Then looking through the rest of this, it's going through the point, and they tell us that this is through the point -1, negative or +2. So if you go and look at your graph, you go -1, +2. So we're really talking about this slope right here. Then they start talking to us about this new equation, h of x. So h of x is equal to 5x times f of x. And from that, they want us to then figure out what is the derivative of h prime at -1. The first thing you got to do on something like this is take that original equation. So I know h of x equals 5x times f of x. And I got to figure out what the derivative of h of x is. If I'm going to plug -1 into something, I have to take the derivative of h. Looking at what I've got in front of me right now, I can see that I have two things being multiplied. Anytime you've got two things being multiplied, you're going to need to run through the product rule. So my product rule recipe, my product rule saying that I use goes f g prime plus g f prime. I label one chunk the F piece, I label the other chunk the G piece, and then I break it down into bite-sized little math problems. You know, the more of these you do, the less you'll need to maybe break it down like I am right now. But as you're learning it, make sure you understand what all the pieces are. So F is 5x. I need to go find an F prime. Well, the derivative of 5x, that's a power rule. The derivative of 5x would just be 5. I also need a G prime. Well, this is just a notation game. Just like I said, G is G prime, the derivative of F is going to be F prime of X. And so now I have what I just call my ingredients, and I just need to follow my product rule recipe to put together the derivative I'm looking for. So we want H prime of X is going to equal, the rule says first go grab the F piece. So I go grab 5x. Then I'm going to go grab the G piece, or the G prime, which is f prime of x. Then I get a plus from my rule, then go grab that G piece, which is f of x, and then multiply that by f prime, which is 5. So there's my derivative, and now I come through and I'm like, okay, well the other thing they wanted me to do is now plug 1 into that. So I need to know what is h prime of -1 equals. So everywhere I see an x in this equation over here, I'm just going to replace it with a -1. So this is going to be 5 times -1 times f prime of -1 plus f of -1 times 5. So what do I do here? You know, the first piece of this is straightforward. Okay, 5 times -1, that's -5. Then when I go to find my derivative value, remember derivatives are the slope. And so what I need to do is find the slope at -1. Well, that is the slope that I have over here in yellow. And so whenever I'm going to find the slope off a graph, kind of the easiest way to do that is going to be to use good old rise over run. How if I'm moving up or down, that's positive is up, down is negative, and then the run, if I'm going left, that would be negative, and if I move to the right, that would be positive. So starting from that dot in the middle and finding another easy to read dot, which would be right here, I see what's my rise over run from that. And so in this situation, I would go down 1, 2. So that is a rise of -2. And then I'm going to go to the right 1 unit. So that would be a run that's equal to 1. So negative 2 over 1, that's what my derivative value is going to be. So I know that f prime of negative 1 is now going to equal negative 2. So I can replace that in this problem here. Remember, that's a slope field, so you're reading the slope of those lines. Then I add to that f of negative 1. So this is the dot on the graph. This is the y value. It's the point on the graph at negative 1. Well, go back and look what they gave us. They gave us the point negative 1, 2. So when I plug in negative 1, I get out 2. So that value would be 2 right there. And then I'm just going to multiply it by 5. At this point, it's a calculator allowed section. If you don't want to do this math in your head, that's fine. Put it in the calculator, but I'm just going to quickly do negative 5 times negative 2 gets us 10. And then on this side, I get another plus 10. And so in the end here, I come out with 20. So that would be my answer on this problem. So slope field, remember, it's the slopes, the actual slopes at different points on the graph. Remember, differential equation is just fancy math talk for the word derivative. So figure out what equation your slopes are from that they're giving you. And then when somebody wants you to find the derivative of something and they give you the original equation, you just got to start going through it just like any other derivative. What rule do I have? Chain rule, product rule, quotient rule. Find that and then plug in the value they give you and go find what the pieces equal. Put it all together and get your final answer. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.